Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between WhiteRa and BratOk. So even though it's spelled like BratOk, apparently it's a Russian for brother, so that's what people have been telling me. So even though it says Brat and then OK, it's really BratOk, or BratOk. So BratOk versus WhiteRa here on Lost Temple. WhiteRa spawning over here at the 8 o'clock position as the green Protoss player. Meanwhile, the purple Terran of BratOk spawning over here to the 12 o'clock position. It's going to be hard for me to say that. I know I'm going to mess that up a couple times, as it's just the way the capitalization, it makes it look like it's more like BratOk or BratOk as opposed to BratOk. Coming in, we have an SCV going to go ahead and build the supply depot over here on the front door, and now just a standard pylon, no cheese, no one really revealing their strategy just quite yet. We'll see what's going to be happening when WhiteRa will in fact be getting that gateway, or if that gateway is going to be a little bit delayed in order to get some additional probes out for that economic advantage. And it looks as though WhiteRa will be trying to get that economic advantage. Gonna go ahead and chrono boost right now, most likely waiting for that. No, not chrono boosting. Okay, so perhaps delaying that chrono boost in order to get that additional gateway, and then having enough minerals in order to build an additional nexus. So learned a little bit of something there. So if you delay between your first and second chrono boost, you can get your gateway out earlier and not lose time on your chrono boost. Probe now moving out to that north hand side. We'll go ahead and figure out that BratOk is going to go ahead and spawn at the 12 o'clock position, sees the barracks, immediately that SCV or that probe trying to take down that SCV, but not really being able to take it down. The SCV has a little bit more hit points than that probe. Probe now backing off, and we'll be able to recharge some of those shields, and then with that recharge of that shield should be able to take down that SCV. Taking a look, backing away, that probe now down to 13. I'm going to go ahead and try to zap a little bit more, and we'll see what's going to be happening. Taking a look over here, we do in fact have an SCV now moving out. SCV took one zap from that probe, but not really enough to do anything else. So it's a particle beam and the fusion cutter. So, and no one really winning out there. SCV going to go ahead and head up this ramp, taking a look at the gateway, and now more probes being built, and WhiteRa going for a double gateway. So if in fact BratOk tries to go for Reapers, it will actually work out fairly well for him. I do not see Reapers though. Probably going to be a factory coming down, so BratOk going for factory instead of anything else, and now in comes that probe not able to get in though. So we'll see if WhiteRa is going to perhaps put a pylon down back here and try to do a little bit of a warp in strategy. We'll see what WhiteRa is doing. No, WhiteRa just going to go ahead and patrol in between those two positions in order to make sure that there is no fast expansion attempt. Pylon now coming down, and that cybernetics core being hidden off to the backside of the base. However, BratOk is able to see it, so in fact we'll be able to get some of those stalkers and sentries, which are very, very important. SCV or that probe just taking some minerals from a random mineral patch. So yeah, that mineral patch right over there, lose 5 minerals. SCV now coming back around, still trying to get as much view as he possibly can. Single assimilator, chrono boost once again, getting that stalker now. No, chrono boosting on the nexus again in order to get more of an economic advantage. And that SCV is going to be trying to push back out. Let's see what's going to be happening. Stalker should be coming out in a mere moment along with that sentry. Just taking a look at the numbers, so for my own enjoyment and my own betterment, 33 build time for a zealot, 42 for a stalker and a sentry. Also 42 build time is the amount of time it takes a player to, I believe, gather 200 gas off of double assimilators. So you can essentially mass sentries and double stalkers from 3 gateways as long as you have 2 gas. Taking a look back over here, we now have a factory coming in to play, and also getting siege tech. So siege tech with factory, 4 marines on that high ground. BratOk not getting any marauders though. So although I am proud that a Terran player is not going mass marauders, I just don't think that that's going to be the right strategy at this stage in the game. Single probe, and now we also have a siege tank. This almost looks like a classic battle on Lost Temple, where the siege tank and that stalker are able to come out approximately at the same time. Is that siege tank going to get a couple of shots off? Yeah, going to be able to get a couple shots off on that zealot, but that zealot able to pull back away once again. Taking a look over here, probe activating that Zelnaga watchtower to get further sight. Siege tank should be getting siege tech in mere moments. There it is. And now going for double barracks, marines and siege tank. That may work if there are a fair amount of zealots, but I'm not quite sure about this. I think Hellions would be a better choice and a better unit combination, as now we're getting an observer, and most likely immortals are going to be coming out as well. robotics facility, training up that observer. The observer now costing a large 100 gas, as they really wanted to make sure that the Protoss player really just had to invest in that observer in order to get it, since every single Protoss player was pretty much blindly getting that observer anyways. Warp gates, gateways now changing into warp gates in order to be able to deploy anywhere around the field. Pylon sitting across this ledge will be able to deploy to that high or low ground. Taking a look, SCV gonna go ahead and activate this Elnaga Watchtower. Stalker gonna be coming in, and we'll see what's gonna be happening. WhiteRa still running around with that Stalker. Probe, Peppy just running. I don't know, Peppy's just floating around. He's not really running, floating around, trying to figure out where he can get to as well. Taking a look back over here, we have a number of Zealots slicing that SCV in the face, and down it goes. WhiteRa now coming in with a single Immortal, may try to get some more Immortals, and should be converting these gateways into warp gates in just a moment. I guess one of the questions I have to Blizzard, or if anyone knows, is the cooldown on a warp gate. Is it set in stone, or is it determined by the unit that you try to warp in? Say, if you try to warp in a Zealot, it takes 33 time. If you try to warp in a Sentry, it takes 42 time on that cooldown, or is it like a flat 40? And, you know, just fairly interesting. Once again, WhiteRa now getting a Nexus over here at this natural expansion, and also getting the command center by BratOk. So BratOk gonna go ahead and drop in this orbital command center. 3 siege tanks on this high ground should be able to push back any real attack. BratOk, however, now finally getting Banshees, and down goes that poor observer. So that observer no longer cloaked, as you see the little eye just rolling away. Coming back over here, we have a single Immortal, a couple Zealots, and a single Stalker with a Sentry trying to push back some attacks. We do have a Nexus though, so WhiteRa setting up an expansion over here at the 3 o'clock position should be able to catch BratOk really off guard. I do not see any. Well, there is an engineering bay and now getting that weapons upgrade, but I do not see a sensor tower being put down anywhere. A sensor tower being placed right here, or right on this ridge side, would be very, very beneficial. Taking a look, Factory has built a reactor and now lifted off in order to perhaps put that. Oh, we have Ravens coming in. So BratOk also getting Ravens. So BratOk is sitting with 3 siege tanks, getting a Raven, perhaps for that defense drone, as the auto turret's not going to really be that useful. The defense drone costing 100 energy is a very, very expensive ability, and then the Seeker missile costing 125. So perhaps the Raven should get a little bit more hit points to counter against the feedback, as 100 energy Raven is still rather low, and then feedback will just instantly destroy it. Probes now coming across from WhiteRa. WhiteRa now gonna go ahead and saturate this mineral line as he chrono boosts this Nexus over here. So now it's gonna be 3 mineral patches against BratOk's 2. BratOk should have a little bit of an economic advantage right now, as he does in fact have mules, but that should significantly switch in the coming moments. Stay tuned for part 2 of this replay between BratOk and WhiteRa here on Lost Temple.